Oops. Not everyone can see me now. Okay, let's see. And is the audio working? Audio is working. And let's get the light working too. Okay, light. Oh, that's too bright. There we go. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit of light over here and adjust the brightness here. There we go. There we go. Okay. Actually, you know what? Turn it down. Okay, great. Great. We're set. Let's get the music going. And I just told the Discord crew I'm online. Where's that music? There we go. There we go. Okay, okay. I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me get my hydration. So, drawing tablet news in and of itself, well, there are a few things to talk about. What I wanted to do today is talk about pen computers. Pen computers. And specifically, I'm going to test out the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro 13 Gen 2, which is released, I think, in 2019. And the reason I want to do that is, well, there are multiple reasons. Number one, and I'll talk about this many times in this stream, I'm going to define what pen computer is, but the short definition for right now is it essentially is a two-in-one laptop that is designed to be a drawing tablet. And not everything that supports drawing is a drawing tablet, okay? So we need to make sure you understand that. So really concrete examples, Wacom Mobile Studio Pro is a pen computer, and the Huion Canvas Studio is a pen computer. Because they're designed to be drawing tablets. And the distinction can be subtle because there's another class of laptops that have a pen which look almost the same but are not designed to be drawing tablets. And the reason I'm spending time on this is that I actually do not recommend that you get a pen computer for lots of reasons, but primarily it's because they're super expensive, limited upgradability, super expensive to repair. Okay, like I think you're just better off with other options. We'll talk about what those options are. But in all that discussion, and I've said this for years, I've never wavered in this belief. And that isn't to say, by the way, that some people don't like pen computers like the Mobile Studio Pro. Some people love them, and I can totally, absolutely understand why. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about why they really they're not a great purchase decision. Okay? It has nothing to do with the quality of the drawing experience. It has everything to do with all the other stuff you have to deal with. But in all those years, I've never had a pen computer. I've had a Microsoft Surface Pro, which is just a laptop with a pen. And I've had other kinds of devices that support drawing on them that are laptops or Android tablets or iPads, but never a true pen computer, which is designed to be a drawing tablet. So I wanted to really dive deep into that today. And let me make sure I get the comments coming. Oh, we have comments already. Let me put there to where I can see the comments. Okay. Saul is here. Nice to see you, Saul. Thank you. Did you pay your electric bill? I did. It's on autopay. Waiting for Huion to announce more tablet. Oh, Mir, good to see you. Yeah, I am. I'm waiting for that too. I'll tell you that. Let's see. Huion putting out more tablets is always yes. My theory about why we're not seeing things is partly due to all the component prices, partly due to maybe there's shipping costs. I don't know, but we are not seeing a lot of stuff coming out from the drawing tablet world. It's better to buy a decent laptop and a good value drawing tablet than an overpriced studio tablet. I agree, Mir. I would add one thing to that, which is besides a laptop, think of a mini PC. Mini PCs might even be a better solution. Okay. Oh, Maboro Shiro, the The Mobile Studio Pro used to be my dream if it only wasn't for their fucked up price. Also, I already had a laptop, so it was kind of a waste, and I'm sure for most people, yeah, it is. Again, they're not bad devices, but there's all sorts of reasons why I think they don't pan out over time. Galmon 620 is a great cheap tablet. I still gotta order one, Mir. I still gotta order one. Okay, so okay, let me clean up my desk and let's chat as I finish cleaning this up. There's just so many little things on the desk, and it's going to interfere with my ability to talk to you. Because it's going to literally, you're going to hear clanking and clacking and me knocking things over. So let's do that. And I'll begin with, we'll just get a little bit of background again on pen computers, and I'll tell you why I got this device. Okay? And this should give you hope if you ever want to get one or not. I mean, meaning, I'm not encouraging you to get this device. I want to make absolutely sure you're clear on this topic. I am not encouraging you to get this device. That's not a criticism of the device. I just think your needs will be better met with other ways, as Mir's pointed out. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Oops. Oof. And I got this device on eBay, and it's a peculiar device. I'm sorry, it's a peculiar reason I got a device. It may not be the reason you think I got it. Okay. One reason is, of course, I don't like to talk about things unless I have either firsthand experience or there's just a very well understood community understanding of what's going on. In this particular case, I never had a pen computer, an official pen computer drawing tablet. And I always felt a little bit bad about that. I always felt like, okay, whenever there's something that's kind of unique or interesting or, people are super interested in, I should have direct experience with it. Sorry, I'm just plugging in the power here. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. I won't need this. Oh, I will need that actually in a second. That's the keyboard and mouse. This thing does not have a keyboard. So I'm gonna have to deal with that issue. Let's see. Saul says, I hope to get the M4 iPad Air 11-inch. That'll be a final product for a long time. I'm right now in the stage where I don't want to buy more computers. I don't want to buy. And there's nothing new really in the tablet world coming up. Actually, we've heard rumors of a few things. I don't know if I should mention it, but there have been some rumors. Good rumors, I think, but we're still trying to figure it out. But yeah, I don't intend on getting a new. I mean, I will buy them because I think people have interest in them, but like my personal usage is fine. Right now, I'm loving the Cintiq Pro 32, the world's largest pen display. Mir asks, can the polling rate decrease the amount of pointer lag? Like, yeah, it can. It can. So let me just back up here. Pointer lag and perceived pointer lag has many contributing factors. And yes, the increasing the polling rate, the number of reports per second coming from the tablet, will contribute to reducing the pointer lag. Yes, that, and your perception of that lag, okay? And does it eliminate it? No, but it will help. It will help. Which, this comes up a lot because tablets are really stuck at around 200 hertz. We want to see tablets with high refresh rates. Now, Wacom's official position, by the way, which is documented on their website, is that higher polling rates. Sorry, I said refresh rates. I meant polling rates. Higher polling rates don't help and may in fact hurt. I'm not sure if I fully agree, but at least I'm glad they wrote it down. Everflower 101. I have the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. I have the Wacom Mobile Studio 16, and it worked great for 8 years. It's overheating now, but I can't find anyone to pair it. Not even Wacom. That right there's one of the big problems, right? And the problem is, look, all computers will have an issue at some point in their lifetime. When you stumble upon an issue, what is going to happen? Okay. Now, with these pen computers are very specialized devices, meaning they're only made by Wacom and Huion, etc. Right? Those companies are not big companies. Okay. Like, how can I explain this in a way that makes sense? I think I have been a part of a team in Microsoft that spent more money than Wacom brings in as profit. Or, like that's how, it's not to say Wacom's necessarily a small company. I'm just saying, like, compared to a HP, Lenovo, Apple, of course, these are small companies. And the consequence of that is, well, it has an impact, I think, on their support lifetime. And then repair costs. If you look at the repair costs for Mobile Studio Pro, even if Wacom will repair it, it's going to be super expensive. You can get another laptop for that. Okay. Let's see, Saul said exactly where I am. No more electronics after that. Yeah, it's time to pause purchasing until stuff is. I'm gonna curse. I'm gonna have some curse words here. But everyone see the movie Idiocracy? And you know who my favorite character is in Idiocracy is played by Terry Crews. It's Hector Elizondo Macho Camacho something. He's the president of the United States. And Terry Crews does a brilliant job of it. And he's giving the State of the Union. And people are just screaming. And he takes a machine gun and starts shooting the ceiling. And he says, he's like, shut up. And he goes, I know everyone's shit's real emotional right now. And he's like trying to bring down the volume and the literal volume as well as the tension in the room. And that's the way I feel right now. We need to bring it down. Like, we got to pause purchasing because things are too expensive. Okay? They're just too expensive. Euchre, good to see you. I don't think there's any tech I'm truly interested in to buy. Yeah, that's the way I feel. Like, I'm not seeing tremendous amounts of innovation. So I'm not seeing innovation, and innovation is low, cost is high. Bad combo, real bad combo for us. So new laptops, new mini PCs, I'm like, no. I am recommending sort of cheap things now that are good values, okay? Don't get the best of the best because you're paying too much, way too much. And yes, we all know it's mostly, I guess, due to this AI stuff. Okay, so let me tell you, okay, by the way, here it is. Here it is. Wacom Mobile Studio 13 Gen 2. So this is model number. Hang on, I gotta find it here. It's super hard to read this. DTHW 1321. So this is Gen 2. And the first thing I'll tell you about it's heavier than it looks, right? It is heavier than it looks. It's not super heavy. It's just like these days we expect things to be light, and it is heavy. Okay, or not heavy. It's just a bit heavier than you might expect. Part of that is that the stand is built in, which has really surprised me. It is. So you have to kind of pull. It actually, when it's secured, somehow it gets secured here. Yeah, it's clipped in, and then the stand comes out like this, right? And then you do something here to flip it out. I got to figure out how to do this here. I don't even know. I'm afraid of like twisting it in a way that. Oh, I see. This is so confusing, honestly. I literally don't know how to do this. Okay, whatever. We'll figure that out later. I've got a stand. But this looks a lot like it looks like what you'd expect, right? It's a screen plus some buttons on the right. Okay, it's got 3 USB-C ports, which is surprising. I didn't realize that. It's got a camera. You can see right here, I think. And that's it, okay? And one interesting feature, which I think just shows you how much Wacom sometimes thinks about users. there's these little plastic things which just look like pad, they're like legs, but actually, I don't know if you can see this. They actually raise up. I gotta stop. Can you see that? They kind of. I gotta hide my face here. You see that these kind of raise up a little bit? It makes it easier to grab like this. There's actually something you can grab like this, right? It isn't just flat. So that's actually kind of useful. Oh, okay. Let me get an actual stand here. This is crazy. My trusty Parblo stand. Let's see. Saul says, I just have too many damn electronics. I'm done. These products I got need to last me into my 70s and beyond. Yeah, I understand that. Listen, I'm close to Saul's age, by the way, very close. And I thought this year, this is before the AI stuff went crazy. I was like debating, why don't I just get a PC with 256 gigabytes of RAM, right? It's similar to what Saul said, just lasts me forever. And I thought, RAM is so cheap. I'm just gonna get, and I did buy a computer with 128 gigabytes of RAM, right? I was like, it's RAM is so cheap these days, and storage is so cheap. Let me just get one. And there's no conceivable reason I'm gonna get to need 256 gigabytes of RAM, right? My largest PC is 192 gigabytes, right, which I rarely use. But suddenly this all got just turned up on its head, right? So yeah, I don't want to spend a lot, and if I'm going to buy something, I want it to last a while. Which is why I'm nervous about buying things that cannot be easily upgraded or repaired, right? That's why I want mini PCs that are easy to open up and replace the SSD and replace the RAM, because I am not going to spend another whatever thousands of dollars. And now the prices are so crazy. And yeah, just like Saul, I have too many electronics. Trust me, you don't want to see how many electronics stuff I have. Euchre says, the only thing that comes to mind is that I might find cool is the new G-Sync pulsar monitors. I heard it's good for old too. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to check that in. I still use my 2011 27-inch iMac every day. I don't care how old it is. If you can put a computer to use, if you can put a computer to work, use it. Absolutely agree, Saul. Absolutely agree. Okay, let me get my Parblo stand here. And let me do one more thing here. I have a new device, by the way. Speaking of not buying devices, I don't know if the cord is long enough to show to you, but yeah, I'm going to try it anyway. I got a new Stream Deck, right? This is like super large now, but it just makes it easier for me to switch between the views and control my volume without having to touch the keyboard and mouse of my streaming PC. Let's see. Okay. Why did I get the Mobile Studio 13? It's pretty simple. First of all, I don't know who showed it to me it was in the Discord, someone. We have a special channel for this topic. There was an eBay listing, get this, for the Mobile Studio 13 Gen 3. The airbrush pen. Sorry, so these rubber bands are making it difficult for me to. Okay, so they're just the rubber band together. I know I forgot Wacom had cases like this. This is for the one of these is the Pro Pen 3D, and one of these is the Pro Pen Slim. So guess what? I have been waiting to find one of these on eBay forever, and same with the Pro Pen 3D. So really, I bought the pens and got you understand from my perspective, I got the pens, which is what I really wanted. And the Mobile Studio 13 Gen 2 was like free. You understand? So it was totally worth it. $300. I got all this stuff. It was worth it for the pens. Okay? So sometimes if you're scouring eBay, you can find this situation. Right? Yeah, $300. Now again, we're going to try it out. And I guess what you should, look, the drawing experience is going to be great. I have no doubt about that. I'm not encouraging you to buy one of these devices. I am just trying to explore what it feels like to use them in the modern world. Okay? Saul says, what it really boils down to is what my desktop publishing teacher told me in 1988 at the School of Visual Arts. If you buy a computer, the first question is, you have to know what you're going to use it for. For real, yeah, it's an amazing deal, isn't it? Protection from my cat. No. Cat, listen, the number of tablet destruction events caused by cats is surprising. If you go on, let's say the drawing tablet subreddits, cats are a major factor in the destruction of drawing tablets. Okay? Number one, apparently, I don't think they knock the drawing tablets off like with they do small objects, but they do push them sometimes off a desk. Another thing is I heard this. This is such a sad story. Someone wanted to protect their tablet, their Cintiq. They put it on the floor so it wouldn't, fall off the desk. It was already in a safe. It was at the lowest possible point in the room. The cat jumps on it, and I don't know how heavy cats are actually, but there was enough force to crack the glass, and that's really not repairable. So cats, you got to protect from cats. Yeah, Saul says that's the question I've been asking myself for nearly 40 years. Every user must ask themselves that. And the problem is, many people are just caught up in the hype, the marketing. Look, some people just like they could call it retail therapy. It's like feeling good by buying something in a store. That feels good sometimes. Let's not be, buying something feels good. In some sense, it's like, oh, wow, you get something new and it's fresh and it's exciting. That doesn't last long, that feeling, the rush. Okay, let's just plug it in. Let me get my overhead also working. So, because I don't know if I can ever project it to you in a normal sense. Let's see. Okay. Waiting for it to turn on. Come on. There we go. Turned on. And then let's see if we can get the overhead. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna sneeze in a second. Oh. Sorry. Okay, overhead. Where's the overhead? It's some overhead view, huh? Okay, there it is. Let me physically change this a little bit. Okay, and maybe I need to increase the light here. Just to make it a little bit more even. Someone in the Discord just posted a link to a... I can't figure out if this is a joke or not. So let's see if I can show it to you. I cannot believe that's the name of a real brand. This cannot be real. I'm not going to say the word. But I'll wait for the chat to tell me. Okay. What do we got here? Okay, I need to plug it into power. So again, this is a pen computer, so it does have a battery, but I have not charged it up. My biggest fear was turning it on and it wouldn't just turn on, and it actually worked fine in that sense. Okay, I'm just gonna plug it into the top USB-C port. And there's some buttons here. You can see it's blinking yellow, maybe you can see that in a second. Yeah, there's a little slider, now it goes green, so it should turn on. Now, I have no idea its state. Okay. So, let me get the stand here. It'll make it a bit easier for us to deal with. And I don't even know the specs of this device. So we'll have to figure all that out. Okay. Great. And you know what? I'm going to set the focus mode to be a little more, well, less blurry. How's that? That's good enough for now. Maybe I'll also adjust the camera a little bit. It's a little bit rotated. Yeah, let me fix that rotation. Oh, I think I can just, yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's see, For Real says, I've been looking at the Pro Pen 2 Slim, but they are about 150. I don't know why they're so expensive. It's not like they're super rare either. I don't think so. But yeah, they should be. They used to cost $80 like on Amazon. I don't know if that's still true, but yeah, I see them going for much more expensive now. It's crazy. What's weird is the Art Pen 2 is like $100. But again, the Art Pen 2 cannot be used with. Okay, it's asked me, is this the right country or region? So this is Windows being Windows. You know, Windows just loves asking all these questions. I'm just gonna do a little nitpick here, because this has always bothered me, honestly. Let me zoom in. Oh, of course, I have to adjust it. Okay. Okay. I actually don't like getting this question because I just find that, I don't know, at least it defaults to the United States. It's like, why do I have to pick this? And it's such a, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna click yes. Is this the right keyboard? This is another thing. Is this the right keyboard layout input method? US, Canadian multilingual, English India. English India, what is that? Irish and New Zealand something. How does it come up with these choices? It knows where I'm at. It knows I'm in Seattle, right? There are more probable languages in Seattle than these. I will tell you that. Well, I guess we are near always want to say Canada. Okay, I'm just gonna say yes. No, I hate these questions. Yes, connect. Okay, I'm gonna just turn off the thing so you don't see my Wi-Fi password. Oh, I don't have a keyboard. That's nice. I need to connect the keyboard to this thing. Okay, that I need to do. Oh, I need a. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. I'm gonna connect this to a USB. A Thunderbolt hub. English India. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I mean, now they're just making stuff up. Now they're just making stuff up. There is no English India. I would love to see what they think that means. I mean, it's a keyboard layout, so maybe there is something different there. Okay, hang on. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Hello. Oh, what? I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. There we go. Okay. Irish gay. Yeah, maybe. Okay, sorry. I have to. I'm getting confused here because I'm in another situation where I have two keyboards and two mice. Okay, now I'm typing it in. Okay, let's get back to overhead. So notice my Wi-Fi network is called Charybdis 2, and it's been that way for like 10 years, okay? That's not because I watched the Odyssey movie. I liked the Odyssey movie before, sorry, I liked the Odyssey story before it was cool to like the Odyssey story. I would like to learn an unusual language, but I'm late on learning German. So, but Gaelic, I actually would like. I would like to learn more about it. I don't know if I want to learn the language. I'd like to learn more about it. The device will restart after you rename it. What device do I want? I want MSP13 G2. Yeah, that's a silly name, but okay. Good for now. Next. Okay, it's doing its business. So I'm sorry, we have to go through Windows setup. So it's just going to do its normal Windows setup, yes. Which is what you want. You want this thing to be fresh. What I notice is the UI looks very modern. I wonder which Windows OS is already installed on here. And if that's what I don't think it came with. I guess it would have come with Windows 10 if it was 2019, right? But maybe it got upgraded to Windows 12. Oh, sorry, Windows 11. Okay, we're just waiting. Let's see. Keanu Steve, do you think Huion will launch a new Slate 14? It's possible. It's possible. I think that I wouldn't say right now it's very likely. Only because the component prices are so, it's a bad time to release something that's so expensive. I'm not counting on it for sure. I'm not counting on it. Okay, it is nice this has touch. It just makes the entire process simpler. No, I don't want to do that. Unlock your Microsoft. I don't want to do that. And if I do that, I'm going to have to type in something. Sure, whatever. I don't have an option not to sign in. Thank you, Microsoft. Appreciate that. Okay, give me a second. I need to get my phone to make this work. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I'm just gonna log in, so you're not gonna see this part, so hang on. I think it would actually be safe for me to show it to you because it's not gonna show any passwords or anything. Yeah, let's go ahead and show it to you. Okay, send notification, yep. Okay. 58, approve, thumbprint. I do like that just works. That is kind of nice. Now, okay, let's see. Oh, for real, I thought they removed that. But these days I don't bother with that. I just sign in through some Outlook account and then I just create a local account, then I delete, it's a mess. I hate it. Okay, do not, more options. I have a lot of PCs, as you can tell from, I try to give them names from France. That's why you're seeing names like Annecy, Venice, except for Heidelberg. Heidelberg is not French. Delphi is also not French. Set up as new PC. Yeah, I am sure. Set up as new PC. There's a fingerprint setup? What? I didn't know that. Yeah, let's see how you do that. Touch the fingerprint sensor. Where's the fingerprint sensor? Is that it? Oh, it is. Huh. Look at that. Oh, so you can't see it. That's actually kind of cool. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that at all. I wasn't planning on it. So let's just do this. I love fingerprint sensors because I hate typing in things. and I don't like camera stuff. Yeah, I have a lot. Okay. I'm going to hide my pin from you. If you just give me a second. It's not liking that, huh? Okay, there we go. Yeah, for real, I have a lot of computers. I'll trim it down at some point. But there's actually reasons I have so many. First of all, I have some computers for testing, like to test Linux, some for testing Open Tablet Driver, and I kind of have some where I just keep them on one driver from one brand, so I don't have to uninstall and install so much. Except, I hate all these questions. I hate that. How about we don't customize my experience? Skip. Skip. Windows loves asking questions. What year did this tablet come out? This is 2019, I believe. Skip. Always have access to recent product. Not now. And while I'm doing that, let me do something else here. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Just cleaning up some stuff. Okay. Next. Yeah, Gen 1 was 2016. This is Gen 2. Yeah. Okay, classic. We gotta have Windows doing its updates. Sure, this is the right thing to do. I worked in security at Microsoft for quite a few years. I know it's irritating to have to update like this, but I gotta tell you, this really is the right thing to do. This really is a better thing that you update than you're at risk for what's gonna happen, honestly. It is irritating. I wish the updates didn't require so much time. Saul says, I would still like to find a suitable entry for my 2017 iMac, a suitable tablet for my iMac. I used Photoshop CS6 on it. Oh yeah, that's a while ago, that iMac, yeah. I thought about getting an iMac, I don't know, about a year ago, but they look super cool. That's number one reason, but I just didn't need it. Actually, I thought about getting it for my streaming PC, but I didn't think it was gonna be powerful enough. Why did I want it for the streaming PC? Simply because there's less wires to deal with, honestly. But there's so many cables that come out of my PC right now. I don't think it wouldn't make it any better. I'd have to get a Thunderbolt hub or something to deal with all the cables I need. By the way, I have never used one of these before, these airbrush things. So that's something we're actually going to try out today. Like, I have no idea how this works, but I'll tell you something else. This airbrush looks unused. It looks brand new. There's like There's no scuff marks on it. I mean, it's not, it looks completely brand new. Okay. Let's see. One of these is going to be the. So we're just waiting. So I'll just put my face up here. Oh, I hate these kind of pen cases. I just don't know how they even work. Okay, this is the Pro Pen something. Forgot which one. This has a little bit of damage on the rubber, but that's fine. It happens when you buy new stuff. You get all sorts of little damage. Sorry, used stuff. This is the Pro Pen 3D. You can see the 3 buttons there. You know what I hate though? And I'm not gonna literally do it, but I'll give you the idea of it. I bought so many pens. You'll see people do this. They actually they seemingly leave the pen in their mouth, and you can see teeth marks in the pen. That's disgusting. And I make sure I clean those pens. It's just, you can definitely tell it's teeth marks. Yeah, it is a necessary evil for real. It is absolutely necessary evil. It is irritating as well. Electronic airbrush. It's a Wacom airbrush. Okay, it's at 90% downloading. So forgive me. It's just taking longer. LumiArt, good to see you. Yeah, I've always been curious about how I would use this. Like, does it really? First of all, I've never used an airbrush. I have no idea how an airbrush works, right? So I have no expectations. Number two, I've always been curious about how it, like, just the physicality of holding this, because like, it's got this belly. That's not a good word, but whatever. Something here. It looks like a fish, which has always intrigued me. Maybe it feels good to hold it with this little, I'm gonna call it a belly. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But one thing cool. Sorry, not cool. One thing that's obvious about. If you can pick up a better name for this instead of belly, let me know. Pens have too much MSG. That's funny as all. Is that it forces you to hold the pen a certain way. Like, you can't, you cannot use the pen in a random rotation. You have to hold it where the buttons are in a certain position. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, it's going to be in a certain. I don't know if I like that or not, but it's intriguing. By the way, it's not heavy. It is heavier than you'd expect. That's right, than a normal pen without the belly, but it is not, like, it doesn't feel heavy at all. For real, I just think they feel like they have a deficiency of microplastics, so they just need that chew. Reminds me of a dolphin. Yes, for some strange reason it does have a vaguely dolphin shape. I think I think recently I learned have you ever heard the word dauphin? D-A-U-P-H-I-N. It's like reserved for, it's like a French word which I think is used to designate like royalty or princes or something, but really apparently that's the word for dolphin. Why the word dolphin would be used to describe some kind of royalty, I have no idea. A little bit of language trivia. I'm still waiting. It's installing. Now it's done with downloading. It's now at 15%. So while we're waiting, let's see if I have any other show notes that I can bring up here, just in case here. Let's see. I've used a real airbrush, messy as fuck, but if you have the patience and determination, you can do amazing things with them. It's a very high maintenance tool. I will say this now. Again, Saul and I are closer in age. Look, okay. Before I preface this, I just want you, because it is tempting to look back at the past and say the past is better, and I'm not one of those people, by the way. Okay, I have the philosophy that you take the best of the past and you bring it forward, but you can sort of disregard a lot of the past, okay? You don't want to over-fixate on the past. However, in my era, it was very common to see airbrushed things. Okay, airbrushed art was very commonly seen. You might see it on a classic example on like the side of a van, or in all sorts of artwork, commercial artwork, meaning ads or album covers, right? And airbrush, by definition, has a gradient feel to it, okay? And the art just looks really good. I mean, it's very, you know when an airbrush was used most of the time, and it just looks very slick. And a good airbrush artist is capable of wonders, right? And nowadays, I guess it's easier to do the same look, though I don't think anyone really matches digital. People doing digital art tend not to do things the way airbrush things are done. At least they don't look like it, right? Even if they're using a digital airbrush. But yeah, Saul points out one more thing, like the maintenance. Like it is a messy, like, and I think it's noisy. There's like an air compressor. Like we're so used to digital tools, you don't realize older tools like had a physicality to them, like they were real devices, right? They're not simple. And of course, you know, you have to be careful. I think they would cut things out, shapes, to mask, right, where the airbrush paint goes. So that was real masking. Okay, we're still just waiting. Sorry, we're 30%, 37% installing. Sometimes I just don't know. Hey, does anyone use Notion? I've been thinking about switching from OneNote to Notion because all the cool kids are using Notion. And by the way, I love trying out new things. I have migrated all my OneNotes to an Evernote, and then migrated it all back. I'm okay switching, but you know, migrating out and back in. I'm okay. I like to experiment with different work styles. James Chasing Sunrises. The fact that digital art programs have an airbrush pen is an acknowledgement of its value. Yes, I agree, James. Yeah, I'm still a big believer in traditional tools. As much as I love digital, the danger of digital is too forgiving. The difficulty of traditional teaching discipline. I would agree with that. Saul. The other thing, which I think is hard to convey, I think people are rediscovering it now. I mean, I think they're always rediscovering it. Every year, someone rediscovers what I'm about to say. Which, okay, I'm going to take it back to a conversation I had with a designer. Now, I have managed designers, and I loved interacting with, you know, graphic designers and UX designers. And I think our meta discussion was about he wanted to do something and he didn't have the full choice of what colors he could pick, okay? And it was something like that where he couldn't do everything. And I said, you know, this is where the real design part shows up. When you're able to solve the problem with a limited set of tools. That's where real creativity shows up. That's why, you know, and again, I'm not trying to praise the old world, but you had a different view of how to do things when you had 256 colors or 16. I worked in a world where there were 16 colors. To me, 16 million was a fantasy, right? And for a long time, I was only at 200,000 colors, okay? When you start getting every possibility, it changes how you design things or how you visually, right? Because when you're stuck with smaller numbers of colors or smaller palette and smaller physical sizes, you have to make decisions on what you're going to do, right? And it's useful to have gone through those limitations. Does that make sense, Saul? And you develop a discipline. You develop beyond discipline. I think you develop judgment. And I know it sounds hard. It's weird to say this. There's a kind of problem solving that you have to express. I'll give you one example. if you, this is a trivial example. Have you ever drawn a shoe, like of a cartoon character, and the shoelaces? You could sort of 3D model the shoe and draw a line around every lace, right? But take a look at an artist like Charles M. Schultz. He just scribbles a little. He does a little weird little scribble because he doesn't have the resolution and the color to do the full shoe. So he draws enough of a squiggle shape to let you understand it's a shoelace without making it literally look like a shoelace. That took me decades to get over the feeling I had to make an object look exactly like it's supposed to look in a photo, that I could represent it in a weirder way, right? Let's see, Lumiar, I was watching an older video on demand where music was louder and I was able to get the song names with Shazam. Oh, okay, great. What's funny is last week I got a complaint about one of the older videos with louder music, which was an oversight on my part. That could be a trap younger artists might fall into. Digital always offers a safety net. No, not so traditional. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so yes, Saul agrees. And that's why sometimes, I actually, even though I'm doing digital, look, I'm never going to give up undo, okay? I'm never going to give up undo. That is a magical feature, but sometimes I draw in just black and white, okay? Here's another one. I actually want to do a video on drawing with a mouse. Despite the fact that I primarily talk about drawing tablets, would you believe I draw with a mouse a lot? Why would I do that? Because it's hard to draw with the mouse. The strokes are so erratic and weird. I draw these frogs all the time. Let's not lie. I'm not drawing, But I like that. It is very hard for me to draw erratic when I'm used to drawing smoothly with a pen. So sometimes I deliberately draw with a mouse just to make the strokes look weird. Let's see, Maboro Shiro, yeah, I agree. Limitation breeds creativity. I find when I limit myself to Inktober prompts, suddenly I'm faster, settling on ideas. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like, left to our own habits, we will draw what we always draw. It's like the person who learns guitar. They're always just playing the same song that they like, right? You got to challenge yourself to do things you don't like. You got to challenge yourself to draw things you don't want to draw. I'll give you an example. I was drawing a bunch of memes and little characters, and someone asked me to draw something I'd never drawn before, or I never thought about it. And it was a couple of versions of this. They asked me to draw, let's say a character in a formal dress and wearing heels, high heels. I don't know anything about dresses or high heels, okay? I had to research that. And I learned, I actually did learn a little bit about the construction of high heels in a visual sense. But it challenged me about, it's actually tricky to draw a foot, especially a foot that has to look good in a high heel. Does that make sense? Or someone asked me to draw a bicycle. It is hard to draw a bicycle and to make it look like it's semi-correct as a bicycle. I wouldn't have done that if someone hadn't challenged me to do it, right? Hi Edbot, I'm setting up a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro 13. And it's just taking a while right now because it's installing Windows Update. So it's been 30 minutes of Windows Update doing its business. Let's see, it's rebooting, okay. Updates, so now it's doing the next stage of updates. Or older new artists like myself, what would I do? Yeah, undo button is critical. Undo button is critical. Let's see, reference, I think reference is very important. And I'll be honest with you, when I started drawing, I was a kid in grade school, and I can probably find it for you. The first thing I did was to trace a cover of Iron Man. I have mixed views of tracing. I think that there's actually utility to do it, like when you're starting out. But what I realized is I couldn't draw without tracing, meaning I wasn't really drawing, okay? It did make me feel more comfortable with a pen, but it also held me back. So I probably should have just traced for, I don't know, I'm making this number up, a couple of weeks and stopped. But it went on longer for that. And because I knew I wasn't getting any better, within that year I stopped drawing because I thought I just can't do it. All I'm capable of doing is tracing something. So I just quit drawing. Later on, I picked it up without tracing. But the reason I'm bringing this up is it's a way of using a reference, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend for most people, though it may be useful for the beginning. But I think having a real reference when you're looking at something is valuable. It is very valuable without tracing it. Yeah, I'd agree. Everyone should pay attention to what Saul is saying here. Check out Kim Jung-ji. If you can, quickly check out his work now on the stream. Yeah, I'll do that. We're not doing anything else, so why not do that? Give me just a moment, okay? Let me start a new. I'm typing in the wrong thing. Okay. He passed away a few years ago, right? As I recall. There was some controversy also, not about him, but somebody was like, they fed his art into some AI and they were recreating art, not as an honor to remember him, but it was not well received, as I recall. Okay, let's take a look here. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. There's actually a CNN article. I presume. Oh, he died young. I'll be honest. I hadn't heard of him until he died, to be completely honest, and I found out through Twitter. South Korean artist crafted sprawling, intricately detailed scenes with unbelievable speed. Influential comic artist died suddenly in 47. Yeah, this is great. This is. Let's see if we can find images. Sorry, sneezing. This looks like a Marvel thing. I love the organic look of it. Actually, it said he drew fast, so let's see if we can find an example of him drawing fast. The Wacom thing is rebooting. Kim. Let's see if we can find an example. I think it's probably important. Live drawing. Here we go. Okay. Let's skip to the drawing part. I'm going to speed it up. Though he's drawing super fast. If you've ever really drawn... Actually, you know what? I'm realizing he hasn't even sketched it out with a pencil. He's just drawing. Which is insane skill. Okay, I'm going to speed it up. Even though he's drawing fast already, I'm going to speed it up a little more. Playback speed 2x. Okay, so here's what I notice here. And I can't tell what kind of... Is that like a brush he's using? It looks like a brush. Here's what I'm noticing. He has a lot of good control over his strokes, right? Like it seems like the stroke width is exactly what he chooses to do with the stroke width. Number two, we just saw him use his hand. Some people get weird about using a hand to smudge things, but like, you know, when you're a master of something, you can do what the hell you want. The other thing I'm noticing, again, he is not sketching this out beforehand. He's just drawing it. That takes a lot of skill. an understanding of how things are going to fit together in proportion. And he's not, like, it's just the strokes are going in the right place. How can I say this? Like, that's not easy to do. This is actually amazing. No, I've never seen him live draw. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Let's see. We just focus on a different part of the drawing here. Actually, I want to see him draw this necklace thing. How fast can he do it? We're doing it 2x speed, but I think the point is here, he's just drawing the final thing, basically, as he's drawing. Think about how well you'd have to understand how the entire picture is going to fit together. Yeah, this is amazing. Really amazing. I've got to give something like this a try. I mean, just in my own way, right? Interesting. Okay, the Wacom is rebooted. Let us get back to it. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to 7 pens. Oh, I don't have to put in my password. I'm just going to go here. Hello. Yeah, everyone should just do what Saul says. Everyone check this guy out, right? Yeah, it's just amazing control. Amazing control. I get the feeling he has challenged himself in drawing many different things, many different times, and it shows up, right? Okay, still a few more minutes. Oh, thank you so much. Well, while we're at it, we'll just keep watching, eh? I'm skipping ahead a little bit. So the total video side is 1 hour. So he's been drawing for, I don't know, 40 minutes. And he's completed all of this. That's kind of amazing, don't you think? Jeez. And I'm looking at this picture. In that time, he's filled in, I would say, about something about, let's see, I'm guessing at his height. So I would guess that's about 4 feet across, which is a big area. Oh, I see, for real. Yeah, it made sense. It made sense. Absolutely. Even if he used double as much time, yeah, I couldn't do this in days, okay? I don't have the control over lines. I don't have the understanding of body, right? And how can I say? He's using techniques to represent things. A great example. I'll give you a couple examples. Think about how he's showing the hair of this character, the scales of the fish, the wispy beard of this guy, right? And the weird sort of like texture of this block-shaped head, and the texture of the cloth, how it's folded. He's just doing all these different things and using different techniques to show you these things without literally drawing them, right? Like he's not trying to be photorealistic, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Let me get back to Wacom here. We're at now, I'm in tablet driver privacy notice. So now, can we start now, Wacom? Yeah, next, done. Hi. Confirm and continue. I don't want to confirm and continue. Continue without. Launch Edge automatically when Windows starts? No, I won't. Okay, let's take a look. Woo! Oh, Saul says he's done some insane fisheye lens artwork. I'll have to take a look at that. I think I've seen one of those. Yeah, amazing skill. Okay. Let me also, actually, I want to see if I can manually rotate. Yeah, there. It's a little bit better for me. So, what we're going to do is I'm just going to look at the hardware for a second. Let's take a look. And let me make this Mac keyboard go away for a minute since I'm not using it. Okay, there we go. And make the Mac, oops, I typed in a, hey, we'll get started in a few minutes. Okay, which of course I cannot easily delete from the stream. But we have already been started for a while. Okay, where am I? You know what's surprising to me? It doesn't feel sluggish, which is weird. But let's take a look at what this computer... Actually, this is Windows 11. So I guess it was suitable for a Windows 11 upgrade. Okay, that's cool. Let us see what we can learn about this thing. I want to get to computer or system. System information, I think, is what I want. Not that. Okay, Windows 11 Pro. Again, I don't know if this is what it came with. I'm just telling you what I have. Wacom. 16 gigabytes of RAM. So it's okay. It's okay. Anything else interesting here? Let's take a look at, you can always see how much storage you have by just going here on this PC. So it's only 500 gigabytes of storage, and only, a bit of it's taken up. Not too bad. Okay. Not too bad at all. Let's just go ahead and start drawing a little bit. Why not? Focusing, yeah, of course. Thank you for reminding me. Give me a second. Yeah, I do see you're right. It has gotten a bit out of focus here. Let's see. First, I'll just try continuous. And then switch to manual. Okay, I think it's locked in now. Tell me if it ever goes away, because sometimes when I move the monitor, it'll be a bit different. Okay, so we're just gonna try some basic testing here. Again, for $300, this is quite a steal. Now, if there's ever a problem with this device, I'm host, right? I'm not gonna pay $1,000 to get this fixed, okay? So if there's a problem, that's it. It's done for this machine. I'm just hoping there'll never be a problem here, okay? Let's go to, you know where I'm going, 7pens.com, because we have some testing tools. Okay, and the first tool we have is the, where is it? Testers, the basic testers here. I actually updated it this morning. So I have do I have a Pro Pen? Yeah, I have a Pro Pen 2. Let's just try some basic drawing. You know what? It's just classic Wacom. It feels totally correct. By the way, the screen feels it's warm. Probably a little warmer than I'd expect, but not hot or anything. But you'll notice it. It's warm. Seems like in the lower half more. Artifact of past greatness. That's right, Nick, and thanks for joining. It feels fine. it feels fine. This is just a classic Pro Pen behavior, right? Let me erase this. I hit delete. Oops, it got touched there. So I'm gonna draw with really light strokes. It's hard to draw super light at an angle like this. Decent job. You can see there's a little bit of noise, a little bit of variation here. That's usually mostly due to me, but also the Pro Pen 2 is actually super sensitive at low IAF, so you need a pressure curve to kind of smooth that out a little bit. Yeah, for real, it's pretty simple. It's been built in for quite a while. And so I built this page, which I'm gonna, which is on 7pens.com. It's the Web Tablet Tester Basic, because lots of people are like, they don't understand if their tablet's working. So this is one test. If it works here, it will tell you a lot of other things, right? And there's different brushes. You can test pressure to size, or we can try this pressure to rotation, not barrel rotation, but right. You can see that the pen is, as I change the tilt, right? That's working fine. This also does. It'll get thinner if the pen is perpendicular, and thicker if the pen is tilted down. So it's really thick, and now it's really thin, right? There's also barrel rotation, but I'll call twist here, but I don't have, this is not the pen for barrel rotation. Pointer only, just to test, we'll test a little bit of tilt compensation. Tilt compensation is really good. It's, the pointer is where I expect it to be. For $300, this is pretty good. Actually, it's pretty excellent. Actually, $300. I will say, for real though, when you're using a pen on a web page, it only supports 1,000 levels of pressure. So, and the report rate is different, right? The report rate here on a web page will be like 100 reports per second, whereas on a normal app, it'll be 200. Okay. So why that is, I don't really know. I think just the web framework is kind of gating things. You know what? I realize I'm probably gonna have to add a setting here to disable touch drawing, because it just interferes with everything. Yeah, I think I can do that. Disable touch drawing. Okay. So it behaves nicely. I have no complaints about this. Now, this resolution looks higher than HD. I'm not sure, so I'm just gonna double check. Oh, it is higher. Yeah. It's 2560 by 1440. Okay, so it is actually higher. By the way, it's connected to another monitor, which is duplicating too. That's why you see up here, it's, or back on display settings, it's duplicating. That's not an issue or anything. I wanted to let you know why you were seeing that. Yeah, Nick, again, I don't know if this is a common price on eBay, but I think you joined us late. Basically, I actually got this tablet because, hi Mad Max, because it came with the airbrush pen and the Pro Pen 3D. Those are two pens I don't have, and the Pro Pen Slim, which I need one more of. So I actually bought this tablet for the pens. So effectively, it was like a free Mobile Studio Pro 13 from my perspective. So I'm like, why not? Okay. At least it'll make some good streaming content. Okay, I need to take a quick bio break. So just give me a couple of minutes. I'll be right back. And then we'll test the airbrush pen. Okay, I am back. Okay, audio's working. Great, 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 great. Nick says, knowing MSP reputation, I hope it will not burn during a 2-minute bio break. It is it's risk, right? It's a risk. I will say this honestly: if someone told me you could get a pen computer for $300 with 3 pens, I'd be like, buy that thing. Screen looks good, by the way. Screen actually looks really nice. I would say it doesn't look maybe so good on camera, but it looks really good. It looks really good. Maybe the screen's a little bit warmer, meaning slightly more, warm, cool color than I'd expect. But then it might also be because my monitors over here are a bit cooler. So there's a little bit of color thing going on. I don't know if there's any control over we have. I don't know if there's any control we have over that. Let me take a quick look here. We'll go to Wacom. Since I've never seen, there's a driver update. I don't know about doing that. Oh, this is the Wacom Desktop Center. Why is that the new name for this thing? Or is that an old name? Actually, what update do we have here? Current is 6.3.37.3, 6.4.34.4. I'm a little nervous, to be honest. For real, by the way, I would agree with your comment. I'm very sure lots of people would not even notice 256 levels of pressure. Absolutely. Okay, Saul's gonna be back. Let's see. Mad Max is here. A week or so, I asked a question about a mount arm with Cintiq. Oh, okay, that's great to hear. Which one were we talking about? Was that the HX, the Ergotron HX? Let me know. Okay, I'm scared to update to this driver, so let's just take a look at the version number here. Give me a second. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna just split the monitors because it's just confusing to see a very distorted screen. Because the other monitor is a weird aspect ratio, so let me extend these. Yeah, keep changes. The other monitor is also a very strange aspect ratio. And that should be over here. Sort of like this, I think. Maybe like this. Apply. Sorry, I just want to make sure I get this thing correct. Okay. For whatever reason, the Cintiq Pro can't support the full resolution of that monitor. So I'm trying to figure out something that might work better for it. Maybe I'll just disconnect the other monitor actually, because it's just getting so confusing. The easiest way to disconnect is physically disconnect, so let's just do that. Okay, now we're just back to this thing. Great. Ergotron LX, okay, great. Glad to see it worked. Okay, now we want to get the airbrush. So Wacom tablet properties. Let's just see which model we have here. I'm going to put the airbrush on it. And there we go, airbrush. And if I go to about diagnose, we'll know the exact model number because I can't remember the airbrush. It doesn't say the model number, but it doesn't matter. It's there. Good tilt compensation. Okay, how do you use the airbrush? That is a question for all of us to try to understand. Let's see. I'm gonna try to find a video for this. typing in on the wrong thing again. It is always confusing to do it this. Well, wait a second. I have an idea here. So I'm just thinking about how to do this. Okay. Switching between two computers gets mentally weird. We want to get a Wacom airbrush. Since I've never used it, I have no idea what to expect. Okay, let us, is that the right one? No, this one's the right one. Okay, that's not the right one either. Hang on. Tertiary. Quaternary. There we go. Okay, we're gonna find a, and let me turn off the music since that is going to interfere with listening to the audio. And let's find, let me just turn one of these on. I'll turn on Aaron Rutten's.
Hello there, and thanks for joining me. I'm Corel Painter Master Aaron Rutten, and in this video I want to talk about some of the differences in the various Wacom pens. So for instance, I have the grip.
I think that's just an overview. I want to see the airbrush pen. Where is it? There's a real airbrush, by the way. Look how complicated it is. Where is the Wacom airbrush pen? Okay, we found a few videos at the beginning. Let's see if we can watch this.
This is the Intuos 4 airbrush. It's a favorite for people who like wheel control and the feel of a traditional airbrush. Similar in function and features to other Wacom pens, this one offers a wheel to control variables like size, opacity, and color. The Intuos 4 airbrush is available at the Wacom eStore and in select retail locations.
Okay, that didn't help me much, but you know what I did notice? This guy, oh, hang on. This guy has a Wacom shirt, and I want that shirt. That is cool. Okay, that didn't help me at all. Let's see if we can find another example. How about Wacom airbrush settings? Let's try that. Okay, this is 16 years ago. Jeez. I guess this is a candidate for a new video from me then. Okay, let's just see what we have here.
Hello, my name is Jason Niemeyer. I'm sure you've all enjoyed watching my Photoshop tutorials on YouTube. We've talked about that and Wacom tablets. And yes, it is pronounced Wacom. Not Wacom, not Wacom. Most definitely Wacom. And they make awesome products. I used to own the Wacom Intuos 3 series tablet. I got the large one, the 19-inch version, largely not because I had a huge display, but because I used 3 monitors. All 3 of my monitors are hooked to a triple matrix system, so they're all linked together. I can show you this by just simply moving this record entity for the Camtasia video recording software around on the 3 screens. As you can see, it just acts like one giant display. I love that. It works well for me. On the first screen, I have my Photoshop software. The second screen, I keep all of the palettes in vertical columns all linked together. I don't know if you realize you can do that in Photoshop, but you can. You can link your palettes together so they just stay in vertical columns. Very handy. This is an old version of Photoshop, but it works great on my old design studio, and because I'm an old designer. It's Photoshop CS2, and it works great. What I really wanted to talk to you about today was the new Wacom Intuos 4 tablet. I'm not going to go into a lot of its bells and whistles and features because the Wacom website does a fine job of showing you all those cool features. The fact that it's ambidextrous, you can flip it around, put the USB cord on the top one, got 2 places for that. Doesn't have the old lift screen like the other tablets had. I never used that feature, but I suppose you could use it for tracing or whatnot. This area is replaceable. If it becomes scratched or damaged, you can get new inserts for that, but it doesn't
You can
come
skip
off.
to where you
It's
touch
not
the airbrush.
something use a variety of nibs. What's really cool on the website, though, is much information about this little gem
Here we
right
go.
here. This is the Wacom airbrush tool. Now, I've wanted to get one of these. Nothing new here, really. This technology was out with the Intuos 3 series tablets, and I wanted to get one then, but I never did, and I am kicking myself. I got this one with this tablet. No, it didn't come with it. I bought it as an extra add-on just so I could play with it and see what it would do, because I'm an old airbrush artist myself. I used to do motorcycles and helmets and tanks and trucks and stuff like that, too. I love
Okay, that's useful that he says he's an airbrush artist. So he's got some background knowledge that I would not have. And maybe that'll help us understand how this works better.
them. They're an excellent tool, and I was hoping this one would be just like a real one, but it had some shortcomings, and I was a little disappointed at first, but not anymore. When I first took it out of the package and started using it with Photoshop, I couldn't get any of the wheels or any of the features to work until I started reading on the Wacom website one very important sentence, and that sentence was something with regard to being software supportive. If you are going to use the airbrush tool, you have to make sure that your software that you're using it in will support this kind of a product, and that you can go in and make those adjustments. Photoshop does. Clear back to CS2, they had this ability. So how do you make it work? That's what I'm here for. I'm going to show you how to program this in Photoshop. So it.
Now, I don't have Photoshop installed on this machine, so we're going to try, because I just installed this machine. So we're going to use Krita, but at least we can learn something from
Will
this.
work exactly the way you want it to. I'm going to put it back in the holder. Incidentally, it doesn't come with the new holder. It does come with nibs, but it doesn't come with the new nib holder. Go figure. I ain't got that figured out yet. I just put the nibs in one of those Listerine breath strip things, holders, and they're in there, and yeah, that works great. Anyways, let me use the handy dandy mouse that also comes with the tablet and direct you up here to the brushes dialog box. Two menus up here we need to concern ourselves with: shape dynamics and other dynamics. Shape dynamics is also adjustable with the wheel on the brush, on the airbrush. So you can pull this menu down and come down here and put shape dynamics on the status wheel if you want. My goal here was to get the airbrush to operate just like a real airbrush in Photoshop.
That's what we wanted to know. Like, not just how to configure the buttons to do the wheel to do something, but how to actually make it behave like an airbrush artist would expect. So this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed.
So I kept that control on pen pressure with the tablet. So the harder you push on the tablet, the bigger round the pen gets. But moreover, I decided that I really don't like that feature as well, because the new tablet comes with a wheel dial on it that will allow you to adjust your pen diameter right on the fly as you're in your work. So you really don't need that anymore. So in all honesty, I keep that one shut off, unless I really need the feature on. The main one we want to concern ourselves with here is other dynamics. Double click that one. This menu pulls out, turn the flow jitter down here to stylus wheel. And once you've done that, all kinds of new doors will open for you. Bring our attention back over here to this Art Deco image, kind of 1980s style, reminiscent of the late Patrick Nagel's work, where he used a lot of different shadows in.
Just a brief diversion here. Patrick Nagel's artwork was all over the 80s, all over. And I think some people thought it was very kitschy, but it's very iconic of the 80s. So nice to see Patrick Nagel mentioned. And let's get back to, where was I? Okay.
whites and grays in human faces. It's a very this is my own painting, of course, just borrowing his style, which is not copyrighted, of course. Basically, when doing an image like this, I would have in the past just chose a lot of different gray shades, going into my palette, get a different gray shade, go into my palette, get a different gray shade, until I got a Wacom tablet, and that changed all that. But I started using black like you would in a real airbrush, and just controlling the flow. But I'd actually control it by adjusting the opacity slider up here until I bought this new airbrush tool. Now with our other dynamics over here converted over to the stylus wheel, you can see this pattern that it does, just like a real airbrush. When you're pulling back the trigger, you go from light to dark as you're using it. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. I'm going to put a couple of shadows in here alongside the nose, and that way you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Real gently, just some subtle shadows in here. And we can kind of add a couple down in here along under the neck, beside here. And we want to add a little bit of shadow along the hairline right here. And here's what's really cool. I'm going to change colors on you. I'm going to come up here and grab this sort of pinkish magenta color. And as you can see now that I'm working along, and I can just adjust the size of the brush at will. And we'll add a little color in here above her eyes, like a little cool punk eyeshadow. Just that quick and clean. That's what I like about it. I'm going to grab the eyedropper tool and go back to black. I like to select my colors like that. Grab the brush tool again, and again we can change these brush sizes at will. We're going to add a little bit more dark. I'm going to pull back on the wheel, a little bit more black in here like it's farther away, a little more shadow in there. Again, we'll adjust the brush size so we can get right where we need to go, and add a little bit more dark coming around here.
So just to be clear, I think he's using the wheel on the tablet to adjust the brush size, and the wheel on the pen to adjust the opacity of the airbrush.
And we'll get the brush bigger and pull forward on the wheel, a little less color, all kinds of control.
It's giving me the idea also of we could use the wheel to adjust the actual hue of the color. So for example, if you want to do kind of a rainbow pearlescent gradient, you could probably shift the, like let's suppose you're on red, you could probably shift it towards blue by going in one direction and shift it towards yellow by going the other. That might prove useful, so we'll try that. And we could, yeah, no, we'll definitely try that.
Two fingertips. Brush size on my left finger, opacity on my right fingertip. Everything's right at the fingertips here. This is just like using a real airbrush. You will love it. The thing about using a real airbrush is you never touch the surface with what you are airbrushing because you'd scratch it. So I put that spring-loaded nib in the airbrush here. It's got a little bit of spring to it. It's kind of spongy, so when you're on the surface here, you don't really feel like you're touching the surface. It really feels like a real airbrush. Again, remember, shape dynamics, other dynamics. That's what you need to do. Mostly just other dynamics. But shape dynamics is kind of fun too. Either one of those two will make the adjustments you need to get your airbrush tool to work. They will also work in shape dynamics and stuff. You can adjust to use the pressure sensitivity aspect with your regular stylus. So don't forget that.
The other thing that comes to mind here is that there are pens like the XP Pen X3 roller pen that have a roller. So in effect, I think I could do the same airbrush thing with the XP Pen roller pen. Because all the tablet knows is there's a wheel on the pen. So this could be useful even for XP Pen.
If you're the kind of person that likes to work in the dark, I am. I love working in the dark. I recommend the Sciatic backlit keyboards too. Comes in 3 colors: blue, red.
Always funny
lavender.
seeing a
I kinda
recommendation
like the red.
for a keyboard
Kind of like
16 years
Navy
later.
submarine guys use that red, when they have those low light conditions on there. Red really enhances your vision in low light. It's kind of interesting. The Navy's known that for years. It works. So use red when you got the lights off. You can really see great. They're laser etched keys, so the letters actually light up in addition to each key being slightly halo lit. So it's not blindingly bright, but it also has a knob, a dimmer switch on it. So a cool product from Seatic too. I like that stuff. Awesome. Stay tuned for more cool products. I'm Jason Niemeyer, and we'll be right back.
Okay, even though we're not going to use Photoshop, that was actually quite helpful. That was actually very helpful. Okay, so what I'm going to do is where's the overhead? Okay, let me give me 1 second. I'm going to create one more little adjustment for my streaming software, just so it'll be easier for me to work through this stuff. Where is Ecamm? Okay. Oh, I see. I'm going to get to... Yep. Sorry, just take me a minute to set this up. Okay. I'm just going to make a few adjustments here. Excuse me. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, boy. Okay. Because sometimes I don't really need you to closely see what I'm doing on the overhead, but it's good if you see more of my face. Hopefully this gets close enough. Probably. Almost there. Okay, there we go. Because then it's a bit easier for me to gesture and talk to you. So what we're going to do, since that's why you don't need to focus too closely on this. We want to get Krita installed. So let's just do that. And let me turn my music back on. Where is my music? There we go. And move this away. And let me check my comments just to make sure. Okay. Haven't had too many comments lately. No problem. Let's install Krita. I think it's krita.org, right? Krita.org. I saw we're just about installing Krita. We just watched the video showing how someone used Photoshop with the airbrush, so I think I understand what to do. So we're going to try it out and make the airbrush do airbrush things, I guess. One more question while I'm thinking about it. Does the Mobile Studio Pro 13 support being used as a pen display? Like, can I use it as a Cintiq? That's another little question I have. Maybe we'll try that in a bit. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. Power is good. Okay, where's Krita? Let's see the install. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't know Krita very well. I basically just use it for testing and for sometimes drawing. I have used it one time extensively, but I can't adjust to the UI very easily. My brain is locked into Clip Studio Paint. Let's see, Krita. I've never tried animation saw with Krita. I've never tried any animation, to be fair. A long time ago I did, but it's hard. It's really hard. Okay, waiting for it. Okay. So first, let's just bring the pen up. Okay. Does it work? Yeah. So pressure sensitivity is fine. Now what we want to do is use an airbrush to do airbrush things. So let's switch to an airbrush. And now for this, let me switch. There we go. Right? You can see that. Sorry, cancel this. I want to switch to airbrush. Okay, so let me make the airbrush a bit smaller. Let's just say 58 pixels, and let me just make sure it just works. It does. So right now pressure is mapped to the opacity. And does the wheel do anything? Wheel doesn't seem to have any effect, which is expected. One more thing about the wheel, this surprised me. It's not infinitely spinnable. Like, you can spin it down and then spin it up. It doesn't just rotate. In fact, I would say it probably only rotates like 60 degrees, which is the first big surprise. So there's a min and a max. Surprise number one. Did not expect that. So there's an absolute value to it. Okay. And you know what? We're going to open up the Wacom driver and we're going to just see. We're going to go to About Diagnose to figure out the wheel. Okay, so watch this. The wheel is right here, okay? I've pulled back like this. It's at 1024. And I'm moving forward. It's null 0. So you see, there's 1024 different levels of wheel. Lumia Art, it does not spring back to center. In fact, wherever you leave it, it's solidly there, right? It's easy to move, but it will stay where you set it at. And it does not recenter at all. And there's no, what do you call them, dedents? Like, there's no, you don't know when you're at 50%, is what I'm trying to say. The only thing you can feel is when you bump up against the very edge, 0 or 124, okay? Okay, so we confirmed the resolution of that, and it is working. So let's see if we can figure this out. We want to go to Krita, and I think it is, I don't know here. This is interesting. First of all, which controls it? I'm going to turn off pressure for opacity, okay? I'm going to turn it off. Or, yeah, let's just turn it off first. So now it's 100% opaque. So pressure's not affecting anything. Now we're going to, instead of pressure, we're going to select, I believe, okay, I know this sounds weird, but I think the setting is tangential pressure. I think. Why it's that? Okay, so only tangential pressure. And why I did that, you'll see in a second. If it works. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That was it, I think. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So tangent. That's so weird. Why does it say tangential pressure? For some bizarre reason, I think based on how, by reading the Wacom documentation, they describe the wheel using some other terminology, and that gets translated somehow as tangential pressure, even though it's not pressure at all. Same for me, Lumiere. This is all new to me. But apparently, this thing on a real airbrush controls how much paint is being deposited. So the proxy I'm using for this is airbrush, the opacity of the airbrush. So one more thing is, it feels weird the way they've done it here. So I'm going to set it to a linear, okay, tangential pressure, and let's see how that works. In other words, and let me make the size a bit bigger now, so it's easier for you to see. So that's, and you know what? It doesn't show anywhere, but if I go to 0, I still get this. If I go to 100, I get, or the maximum. I'd like some better indicator. In fact, I'm not getting the full. I'd expect when I go down to 0, I wouldn't get anything, but something else is happening here. Maybe this is not what I want to do. So let's just turn this off. What is size? I'm looking at strength. I'm going to turn off strength for a second. There's just, it's not giving me the fine tuning I want. That's the problem. Is that the air? Yeah, I think that matches to the airflow. Though I'm waiting for Saul or someone who has used an airbrush to actually tell me, because I'm guessing myself. And I have no experience with an actual airbrush. Okay, let's turn on opacity again to tangential pressure. And I'm going to make the curve different, okay? So that it's more, yeah, we'll try that. Maybe that'll help get what I want. Now, at the lowest setting, I'm not getting exactly what I'd expect. At the high setting, it is going to black. But I don't know if I'm getting like my intermediate values the way I'd expect. I'd expect this to be almost invisible, okay? Actually, let me do it this way so you understand. And now it's at the lowest setting, line. Just a little bit up, another line. A little bit more, another line. Okay, I'm just keeping on moving it up. Again, I'm not pressing down any harder. So, I think it's working. I expect it to be more, I guess I'm also getting thrown off that there's only like 60 degrees of rotation here. It's not like, it's basically changing faster than I expected, right? I mean, it's working. It's definitely working. But let me try to just do something here, okay? And I'm gonna just paint, sort of, but it's not for artistic. I'm just trying to test something out, okay? So I'm just gonna paint something here, and then I'm gonna erase it. So the eraser works, obviously, you can tell. And then I'm going to go a little bit more dense and make the brush smaller. Yeah, how do I express this? Also, the values are adding up, so that's more confusing. I think it would take some time to adjust to this. I'm going to see if there's any other settings that might work better here. So I'm going to set this back to 0. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to try other settings like, let's see, Saul says, I haven't used airbrush in over 30 years and only spent, got it. But that looks familiar. Okay, I'm going to experiment with something slightly different here. Instead of opacity, I'm going to set opacity to pressure, just like we had before. Okay, I'll make this the pressure, right? And then I'm going, so the airbrush wheel is not doing anything. But here's my theory. I want to set hue to the airbrush wheel, tangential pressure. Okay. And I'm gonna have it set to the, okay, I'll just leave it like it is, okay? So here's my goal. Imagine painting a rainbow, and I'm gonna pick a kind of, a color like this. Let me clear the canvas. And I'm gonna, okay, that's fine. I set it to red, but it's blue, because it's at the lowest value. And I'm gonna shift it, oh, this is actually cool. Okay, you see what's going on here? I can actually use the wheel to shift it, the color. That's potentially useful. Potentially useful. But the shifts are very extreme. Like a little movement of this causes a pretty big shift in color. Okay? But this is actually kind of cool. You can actually shift the color. That's something a normal airbrush cannot do, right? You can't shift the color in the middle of a stroke, which I can do that here, or while I'm drawing. You have to, I guess, use a different ink or a different airbrush. Okay, but it's too much, doing too much. Let's change the hue to be not as rotate. In fact, I'm gonna, I'm going to set it to this for a second. Just a slight shift of hue, okay, in theory. So we're starting at red, but it's going to look off. Yeah, exactly, Lumiar. So I'm rotating it. You see it's becoming slightly more purple now. Okay, this is making sense, right? Now, why it doesn't correspond to red is another issue. That's fine. But you see, if you wanted more purple, you could do it. Okay, so I think I'm getting there. Yeah, this could actually be useful. Let me try increasing this a bit more. Actually, I'm also going to increase the lower bound to see if that's the reason it won't match red. Let's see. Okay, so if I want more orange, I get that way. I want it to go in both directions though, which is the intriguing part. Is this following the color correctly? If I set it to green, it's not exactly doing what I want. I want to be able to go in both directions, not just one. So green is following. It should get more cool. Yeah, it's getting cooler as I go to the pull up. So this might be useful for like, I don't know. I'm drawing a hill, the grass, right? And then I'm going to shift it over. Oops. And I want part of the hill looking more, in the distance to look more bluish. I mean, you get the idea. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I'm going to experiment with this a little bit more. This UI is a bit messed up. It's a 0. Okay. Yeah, it's not giving me exactly what I want, but at least it's an interesting mix. I'm gonna try one. I wonder if Does Krita have a time I don't know the language of this. Time deposition airbrush where it drops little dots, like over time. Let's see if there is such a thing here. And I don't have the language for this either, so I have to search. Krita. I don't know. Time deposition airbrush. Does everyone know? I want to draw little dots as the longer I hold it down, which is more like an airbrush, I think. Spatter, splatter, spatter. Yeah, that's something like that word. Krita. Let's try that. Krita airbrush spatter. Spray engine brush. This is maybe what I want. Spray area, spray shape. Okay, let's try this. Let's try it. Is there a spray brush here? I'm looking for flow. Flow opacity, basic flow. Airbrush soft. How do you get a spatter brush? Masked. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Let's do a little more research here. This is what I'm looking for. But how do I create a brush? Okay, we'll have to watch a video, huh? So let's check it out here. Hang on. Where do I want to go? Here? No, here. Here. Okay, let's take a look. I want a Krita. I'm typing in the wrong place again. You know what? Instead of typing, I'm going to see if I can use technology to help me. Krita spray airbrush. Ah, here we go.
Hello everybody and welcome to another detail painting video with Krita. In this case I have prepared a different kind of video. I'm going to show you just the basic of one of the best brush engines that Krita has, the spray brush engine. Thanks a lot for being here, and I hope this kind of different video like you allows me to produce faster. So let's go with the content, because we are producers, artists. We need time for more interesting stuff than watching Raymond talking. Okay, so here we go with the basics. First, we need to create a new file. So go to new file.
That's right, Livia Art.
Custom.
Wall E level of laziness.
Preset, I think is good enough to show the features, the landscape orientation. So I'm creating the file and I have this. Where are the brush engines in Krita? So the brush engines are located here, because if you start to play with the brushes, you don't know which brush engine is using each brush. You can know it by going here to the brush editor. I'll look at here. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see the name, the brush name, but you can see also the brush engine that is already using. This is, for example, using the bristle engine. This is not a pixel brush engine. Okay, this is using the pixel engine. How can I filter all these results? Because how many brush engines has Krita? Okay, I can do that if I go here
You can
Usually
filter
this
by engine.
is hidden, but I can press on this arrow here, and then I can see all the brushes here. And you can see I can filter by tags, I can filter by detail, by texture, or wherever. And of course, look at this. I have the engine available for pixel, for sketch, or wherever.
Yeah, Nick, I'd agree. I like his videos a lot. He's helped me understand Krita quite a bit better. As of you, Nick.
The brush engine I want to explore. Okay, if I go to the spray, you can see, oh my god, this is the spoiler a spoiler alert. This is the brushes that we will be exploring in this video. I have been produced 14 brushes, so you are gonna be I think is good enough to show the features of the spray brush engine. But you can see that we already have some brushes that are using the spray brush engine, which is
Cami Luna, good to see you. And yes, that's correct. I have the Mobile Studio Pro 13 in front of me, and Krita is running on it. And we're trying to, oh, by the way, I got the airbrush, Cami Luna. So we're trying to figure out how to make the airbrush work on Krita, because it's got this little dial, this little wheel here. And we're trying to get the spray brush engine working.
cool. Okay, so you can see, for example, the hertz. If I just make maybe I'm using white, yeah, Ramon. Okay, I have this. Okay. If you keep press, you see the hertz are flowing, and that means that we are using the spray feature in the spray engine. We will cover this a bit later. But what if we want to explore by default the brush engine? Which is the default state of this brush engine? I have to go here to the plus icon and just press and go for the spray. And this is the default spray brush engine that we are going to cover.
That's what we
right
want,
now.
something like this.
By default,
Yes.
you have this result. And if you increase the size, let me zoom in a bit, you see something like this. If I keep just making this kind of brush stroke, I can fill the space I want to fill, but obviously this is a bit slower than expected. And if I keep press, remember the hertz when they were flowing? This is not flowing because
We want flow
we have
too, yes.
the airbrush feature, the activator.
Airbrush feature,
And this
there we
is in this state for one simple reason, I think, because if you start to play without knowing too much about this brush engine, you can create too much density of dots on your screen that can...
Hang on. A very important comment from Cami Luna. Gonna subscribe later myself. Yeah, I recommend everyone do that. Number 2, Cami Luna says she's at a friend's house right now for her cat's birthday party. And I just want to make sure, I'm gonna put my face up for this one. I just want to make sure this is totally clear. The official policy of the 7 Pens channel is to normalize cat birthdays. Anything that I am totally for pro cat content, and I'm pro cat events like birthday parties. So yes, good. I love cats. I'm allergic to cats, but I love cats. Yeah, this guy is pretty good, Cami Luna, at teaching. Like, he's the one who taught me about sort of the terminology of sensors and things, and I think his content straddles a good middle ground between artistic and technical, right? And I'm not even sure there's anyone like him, actually. So I think I highly recommend looking at his channel. Okay. We are cat. What is it called? We're a cat. We're cat respecters on this channel. I love cats. On Reddit, I'm always looking at pictures of cats. Okay, let's get back to this guy.
make your CPU slower. So to prevent this situation, this feature I think is deactivated. And to show you better the behavior, I'm going to remove everything. All the dynamics are removed, deactivated, and we see the basic. So we see the spray, and you notice one thing. Let me increase a bit the amount of particles that we can control here. Okay, so I'm going to increase the
So I
particles
think I
to
want the
50,
amount to be controlled by
and I
the
have 50
wheel.
particles. Okay, 50 particles, 50, 50. If I reduce the size of the brush, I get the same amount of particles, but in a smaller area. And this is not really good when you are painting, because you're working in different sizes and you get
Right.
different density. So for shading
Right.
objects, this is not good enough. But for other purposes can work very well. Right now we are learning the basics, so just be patient, please. Okay, so now we understand how to use the diameter, because it works different than the size. If we increase the size here, we are not increasing the particle dot size. We have control over the area we are affecting. We can affect a bigger area, but if we have the count system for adding the spray shapes, we have this kind of effect. What happens if I increase the amount of particles and just decrease the value of aspect ratio? We're going to see this. Okay, now we have stretched the brush to create this effect. So we have all the particles but stretch in a more narrower area. And we have this feature or this parameter to be adjusted in this way or adjusted in this way, which is another kind of ratio distortion. If I start to move things here and play a lot with the parameters and then press here this button to restore the default state.
Let's see, Camille has a comment. As for drawing software, my transition from Paint Tool SI to Procreate to Clip Studio has taught me that I adapt well to new art software if I understand it better from a technical standpoint. Okay, that's great. I'm the same way. Like, it's not like I need to know how the code works, but just a little bit of understanding about the mental model helps clarify a lot of behaviors for me. Okay, let's get back to...
I get nothing. Restore the default state, I have to go here and select again the spray feature. But remember, we are going to erase all the modifications in the spray brush engine. If I haven't saved the brush, I lost all my modifications. If I want to spread the particles in a bigger area, I have to modify the size, which is affecting the spray area, not the particle size, not the spray shape size. How we do modify the particle shape, the spray shape? As you can see here, I control the shape of the spray particles here by ellipse, rectangle, anti-alias, pixel, and image. There's a lot of possible combinations. And as you can see here, if I lock here, I can create bigger particles. But remember, I am covering the same amount of space, the same area. So bigger particles with the same area. So size doesn't affect the size of the particles. This is really, really important. We are controlling the area that we want to affect. So if I unlock this, I can get this.
Yeah, Camille, I agree. You can basically do good stuff in almost any app, but they all just have slightly different models for how they work, and that'll affect how you like to use them. That's why, for me, Clip Studio Paint is the best, because it just fits the way I like to do things and does what I need. And Procreate just does things differently, and it just doesn't work as well for me. But some people work very well with Procreate.
Kind of crazy results, just crazy things, to create this kind of effect really fast, to create floor, water. Remember, we have a water brush here, but you can use the spray to not only spray perfect rounded particles. And how we control this? If we don't want the perfect shapes like this, because we can just also get rectangles and create this kind of effects more detailedly. And we can add color variation to this that we will cover in a minute. So please be patient or start playing right now with the brushes, because you can download and you have the link in the description below. We can activate this feature, which is called proportional. By default, it uses the percentage. And what that means, if I use the ellipse, something like this, and I use proportional, I have the size of the particle and increase the size, I am increasing also the particle size. If I reduce the spray area, I reduce also the size of the particles.
Okay,
I think
I
this
don't
is really
want
cool.
that.
It's a really cool feature. But what happens if I want to control the shape on the edges of this circle element? So we have this and we want to modify the edges, but look at this, we have different sizes and this is controlled by the shape dynamics, so we don't want to affect them in any way. Disable this dynamics as I did before. Okay, so I have this. And now I'm going to show you a way to get different results with another way to modify the spray shapes. So we were in this stage, we have basic solid particles and we want to see how can we modify the shape of the particle. Well, we can use this, we have been exploring, we can create perfect rounded or perfect rectangle, and we can
Let's see, Cami Luna says, line smoothing, pen stabilization, and Procreate feels like I'm drawing on a Ouija board, but it feels more natural on Clip Studio. I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Krita, I think I'm okay with Krita, but I still prefer the way Clip Studio does it. Maybe that's just habit, though.
Yes, these options are not going to be covered in this video right now. So we disable this, we automatically see that we are using another kind of particles. The particles I'm using right now are the auto or predefined or text. Yes, believe me, we can use text. So for example, I'm here. So I'm controlling the shape of the particle like I do when I'm creating regular brushes. So if I go here and select, for example, this soft here, I can modify the shape of this particle. So look at this. We're going to the stream.
Interesting.
Now
Not what
we
I
are
need, but
creating
it's interesting.
this kind of particle. But of course, we can go just simple version and then go from this, which is what we had before, to this, which is softer particle. If we want a softer particle than this, we go here and just remove this point and just use something similar to this. Also, you can use here the ratio to make this kind of effect, increasing, decreasing, or changing the angle, and we get something similar to this. In this spray brush engine, I can control the area of this, but we can complicate this a bit more if we randomize the size, but not this size, but the size here. So you can see here, it's the random just a bit. And then we have something like this. Pretty similar that we have in the brushes I created for you. Another thing that we can do with this kind of spray brush engine behavior, we can go here and go to the brush tip, because we are not using the spray shape, we are using the brush tip, but we are going to use the predefined
I think
brushes, the brush
let me
tips
just
that we
scan
have
ahead
already
to
available
see.
for creating our brushes. So for example, let me select this, and then I see nothing, because by
Let me
default,
go to
the
this
brush
section later in the
the
video.
airbrush feature. The airbrush feature controls how particles are sprayed in time. So if I increase the rate, I have
Airbrush
something
feature.
like this.
I need-
If I
that's what I
increase
need.
the rate a lot, I get a lot of particles. Really fun. It's crazy because you can create even noise for texture. So we have something like this. It's pretty similar, like confetti. If we have this kind of brush, we can start to notice that we have this line when we want to say something. How we avoid this kind of line? Well, we have here this parameter called heater movement. And what is heater? Heater is exactly this.
So everyone's clear, it's jitter movement. But it's, yeah, sometimes people, if you're pronouncing J's like H's, then you're going to say hitter.
And if I heater my particles, I'm spreading them so I don't get this line. But the area is bigger than expected. So if I want to cover in a specific area size, maybe it's a good idea to use selections. For example, if I want to cover this area, I can use a selection and then start to spread the particles to make sure I have control over the surface.
This
or
is
the
kind of
area
what I want to do.
cover. Finish this sphere, something like this with color power, and we have dynamics power, and that's exactly what I have done in the brushes I have produced for you. So what do you think about these particles?
Okay,
Let me
let's
know in the
try it.
comments.
I think
Let me know
we've
if this
watched
video is
enough of
helping
this.
you,
Let's
or
try
giving
it.
ideas to create interesting effects in your paintings. Now let me show you the final thing about
one more.
dynamics. For example, here you can see if I have square and not soft, default, and just a bit like this, and the angle 90 degrees, and remove the spray shape to use the brush tip. So I have this. So let me show you the last thing I want to show you in this video. It's not exactly this, but Obviously, this kind of behavior, it could be really cool to make fast backgrounds, a lot of particles combined to create interesting color effects. It's not exactly this, but it's how to control the rotation of these shapes. Well,
Okay,
you can use
I'm not going to watch that
dynamics
part because I
and
don't
the
need
angle
that
weight.
part.
So if I increase
But this is a good video. This is a really good video.
this to 1, let me just
Oops. Let me, I'm going to just go ahead and paste the video URL in the chat so people know. Oops, I clicked enter. There we go. Okay. Now let's just try it out. Let's go back to overhead. Okay. And let's get back to Krita. And let's see if we can remember what he taught us. Okay. So let's go ahead and just delete all this. And we're going to click here to get a brush. We are going to hit plus for spray. We do want the airbrush feature. Okay. So let's go ahead and just try it. Okay, it is airbrushing. And we want shape dynamics. Painting mode, build up or wash. Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about this. Let's Creator offers choice between painting modes, build up and wash. First choice builds up color by painting in one stroke. I think we want wash right now. Yeah, I think we want wash, not build up. And I want the rate to be controlled by tangential pressure. Rate, not by pressure, but tangential pressure. Crazy name. Okay, so let's just pick black here, right? And I'm just getting used to the brush. And I want to keep on depositing first. So I do want this on. So if I hold it still, it should still just draw. And it is just drawing. See it? It's just, I'm not moving at all, but it's drawing. I want that. Okay, so I'm going to increase the brush, make it bigger. Camille says, I can vouch for this as a Hispanic myself. It's a Hispanic. Oh, okay. I understand. We pronounce J Jota. He may be unintentionally carrying the pronunciation. Got it. Got it. Which reminds me, even though I am late on learning German, I actually want to learn Spanish too. I don't know. I just think it sounds cool. Something about it just sounds really nice. Like I was listening first. I had, when I was in college, I had two friends. They were twin brothers actually, and they were from Cuba. And they actually they sort of knew Spanish very well, but they weren't totally fluent. So even they were taking Spanish courses, but they were like extremely, like almost fluent. But I got to listen a lot to them talk, and I just loved the way they spoke. But it wasn't until recently I realized that their Spanish is a little different from, I don't know, I guess in the United States we'd hear people speaking Mexican Spanish more, or maybe Puerto Rican. I actually lived in Puerto Rico for a year when I was very young. But I heard Secretary of State Marco, whatever you think about the politics, I heard Secretary of State Marco Rubio speak in Spanish, which I rarely hear him do because I don't watch too much TV. But I guess when they speak Spanish in Cuba, they cut off the ending of certain words. And it was really interesting. But anyway, I like the sound of his voice, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that's my little rant on Spanish. Okay, it is doing time deposition. Okay, so now we're going to see if the airbrush is going to affect it at all. It's not affecting it, so now I see if I can. I don't see it affecting it. Where is it? I want to control. What the hell? Hang on. Okay, wait a second. It is affecting it. Somehow it's mapped to the opacity, which is not what I want, actually. Let's take a look here. Okay, turn that off. I want the amount of spray to be controlled by the airbrush, the wheel. Does that make sense? Where's my music? Where's my music? There we go. Yeah, Saul, I didn't realize how different those dialects could sound. It was a big surprise to me. I think, Nick, they do have a lot of good curses, though. You guys will laugh. The most Spanish I was ever exposed to was in a game called Far Cry 5, and I didn't translate all the words, but apparently they're cursing quite a bit. So I'm kind of scared. I'm not going to repeat what they say, but as I'm playing the game, they curse so often, I start cursing with them, but I have no idea what I'm saying. But I'm not going to repeat it here because I think they said very bad things. Castilian Spanish. Let's see. Camilina says there's a funny video on Instagram where Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Colombians have a different word for the burnt rice scraped from the pot. Wow, interesting. So interesting. Wait till you hear Castilian Spanish. I'll have to check that out. I love seeing language differences. I love seeing it. Okay, let's get back to this. I am having trouble getting the rate controlled by tangential pressure. Let's try it again, see if we can figure out why it's not doing what I expect. So is pressure affecting it? Okay, here's something interesting. I don't know why this is happening. The pressure is affecting the size of the brush, which is not what I want, by the way. You see that? I'm pressing down and the thing... I'm not saying I don't want that, it's just I wasn't expecting that, right? And if I'm pressing down really light, it's a thick stroke because it's combining all the dots in a small area, which is also, I want less dots per area. This is interesting. Okay, let's go back here. Notice in the spray brushes, I don't get as much control over the brush. Opacity is, or size is pressure. I'm going to turn off the size thing. That's confusing me. Saul says Castilian Spanish was the most beautiful and strange Spanish I ever heard in a very cool. Interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard that exactly. But you have to tell me, Saul, is Castilian Spanish... okay, let me just ask the question this way. In Spain, what is like the, if this can be said, the normal dialect? Is that Castilian Spanish? Or is that more rare? Does that make sense? Is that like the normal way people would say things in Spain or not? Because I don't know. Okay, why doesn't... I'm trying to get the rate to be controlled by the... This is what I'm missing. I want this to be controlled by the the rate to be controlled by the, so it's not doing what I want, honestly. Now what I can do is get the opacity controlled by tangent. Well, I don't need that, but let's try it. Okay, so let's try that. That's at least somewhat like what I need. Somewhat. Okay, now, at the lowest setting, the lowest setting doesn't get me almost invisible strokes. It's almost, I know for your perspective it looks dark, but it should be much lighter. Okay, it's not doing what I want. It's not doing what I want, to be quite honest. I'm going to turn the opacity off and go to color. Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't give me... Yeah, the spray brush is interesting. It doesn't give me the control I wanted, honestly. How about... let's see. So it says Castilian Spanish to New World Spanish. It's like British English to American English. Okay, very different. Got it. Got it. Lumia Art says, reminds me of the last time I tried getting used to Krita and figuring out its brush settings. Yeah, I'm struggling here because the non-spray brushes have all these configuration settings that you guys have seen many times before. But with the spray brush, I'm just not getting that. I'm not getting the control I want. Right? Which is interesting. I think I can tell okay, let me just tell you what I want. I want a very fine airbrush. Right? Very fine brush. Like I want uniform Gaussian cluster curve. I'm looking at these settings. Count or density? Jitter movement, spacing, scale. How do you control the size of the... Let's see. I didn't get far from the art. Says, it is complicated. It is complicated. I don't want that. Spacing, jitter movement, particles. How about if I try density here? Does that feel different from count? Not sure. Yeah, it's not giving me what I want. But let's let's try a few more settings though. First of all, I'm gonna just turn down opacity. And I'm gonna pick a different color. I'll pick a red or something. Reddish orange. This is kind of what I want, but just smaller particles, right? Again, the weird part is the lighter I press, the more dense it is. It's weird. It's weird. Like, and it's not wrong. It's just, it's not doing what I'd expect it to be doing. Actually, I should clarify that. I think I'm not sure what my expectations are for these settings here. I don't want size based on this. Yeah, this is more like, but how can I change the particle size? Let's see. Nick says, I always want to try painting 3D models with airbrush, but never had an opportunity buying and deploy. Oh, sorry, I understand. With an actual printed 3D model. Buying and deploying compressor and all this stuff to try something. Yeah. I think I thought about doing it for a hot minute, getting an actual airbrush, but then I watched one video on YouTube showing how complex it was, and I was like, I'm not going to deal with the headache of an actual physical device. I'm looking for something that's a hybrid between digital airbrush and this kind of spray, but I'm not getting it. But you can kind of see what I'm going for here, right? I'm just gonna fool around a little bit. Let's go ahead and add another layer here. Change the color. The screen is very small, so it's a bit difficult for me to change the color. I'll pick this blue. Again, I'm just playing to see what I can do with it, not really for artistic. Let's do another layer here. It's not as intensely bright as the video is making it out to be. Not as saturated. From my end, it's just a little less saturated. Or noticeably more saturated. Less saturated. So you're getting a kind of extreme view of what's happening on my end. So I like the spray thing, but right now the airbrush isn't really doing anything special because I'm not using any of the airbrush features. Like I could have done this with a normal Pro Pen too. Like I want to use the brush here, the wheel, but the wheel there's no control over what the wheel does. Like I guess I can change the rates. I can try that again. It didn't seem to make a difference last time. So let's see if that helps. Okay, so it's at the lowest rate, and now it's at the highest rate. Maybe there is some difference. But it's not getting low enough, and it's not getting... Actually, it does look a bit better. Okay, just a few more scribbles. I think it's going to take a lot of experimentation. I'm still not sure if it'll do what I actually want. Like it's looking more like who is that impressionist? Shoot, I always forget his name. Monet, but that's not what I want. I just let's try it. I'll hit E, Nick, for eraser and see what happens. Will it be spraying eraser dots? Yeah, it does. It sprays eraser. I mean, that's kind of cool, honestly, that I can erase this way. Let's try it out. Is that right? Oh, it's a different layer. That's why I wasn't erasing. But yeah, it is indeed spraying eraser dots. Actually, this is kind of, I'm glad you suggested this. Yeah, this is actually producing, the net effect is the smooth look that I want. Yeah, this is actually more like what I wanted. I wanted a tiny little texture. Now I vibe coded a painting app called Inkwell. And I'm actually thinking right now that I should try to see if I can get it to, not during the stream, but if I can get it to do some of the, what I want out of an airbrush. I like having, you know, my own ideas of how an airbrush should work. Even if no one uses it, I would like to get my own sense of, oh, this is what I'd like. Now I don't have it, but Corel Painter, I recall, had an interesting airbrush. And with Corel Painter, I think it even did the thing where if you, here, I'll draw it actually. If you tilt it at an angle, you'd get this effect. I'm drawing with black right now, okay? And this is gonna take a second to build up. Like if I was drawing at this angle, you'd see it show up this way. Like it was actually spraying out from that direction. That's interesting. Okay, so what's my verdict on the airbrush? At this very second, I don't think I'm able to use it in a way that exploits its one distinguishing feature, which is the wheel, right? That could be Krita. That could be because the implementation is like a 0 to 124. It's like an absolute value. There's other things going on with how it's interpreted in Krita and the brush engine. So this isn't really adding me much value, to be completely honest, right now, this wheel on the airbrush. I will search for other apps. I will try Photoshop on another machine and see if that is the secret to getting this this thing to work. But it is, it's worthy of experimentation. At the very least, I think I've learned, you know, I should try the spray brush more. I should definitely try the spray brush more. I want smaller particles. Somewhere I thought that guy in the video showed me how to do it. But then, because I want a little bit of texture when I fill in an area. Just a little bit of random texture without adding like a texture layer on top of it. Does that make sense? I'm gonna check one more time to see if I can adjust the, oh, here's the spray tip. Okay, this might actually give me what I want. I'm gonna get it down to 3 pixels, okay? I should have tried this earlier. Let's delete some of this. I'll leave the old ones there so we can see the results. Let me get a slightly different color. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is more like what I want. But I want it even smaller. I'm gonna go for 1 pixel. Oops, hit the button. Yeah, I don't have CSP installed on this, and I'll double check on that. Yeah, this is more like what I wanted, folks. You see how tiny? Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Can you see how tiny the pixels are now? So this was like at 6, this was 3, this was like at 1 pixel. That's kind of what I wanted. I'll make it black so it's more obvious here. Right? And I'll change the opacity to 100 so it's building up a bit faster. But I just wanted a little bit of extra texture. Right? Again, I don't need the airbrush for this though. I could have done this with just the Krita brush setting and Pro Pen 2. So the airbrush is not adding value right now. But yeah, this is, so I guess I've learned more about Krita than I have about the airbrush. But that's okay. That's why we do these streams. We try to learn. Yeah, you see that gentle, it's almost blurring. It's sharp, much sharper for me. But it's, actually, I'll try to see if I can make it a little more. Okay. It is, it's kind of more like what I wanted, right? But I'll try CSP a bit later. Okay, so what's the final verdict? Airbrush, I'm not gonna say it's been a disappointment, but I haven't been able to exploit it. It just needs more experimentation, okay? I think that's definitely something that is needed. It does feel weird. I mean, I don't know. Because you have to hold it like this, you can't hold it upside down. Like, it doesn't rotate. So you have to hold it the way it is designed to. You might like that, you might not like that. For those of you who think about getting it, I don't think it's worth getting right now because it's not going to give you anything really special. It's just interesting that it works, that's all. But it's an interesting example of, Wacom trying different things, right? And I think we should always salute them for that. It does look cool as hell, though. Little dolphin pen. The other verdict is Krita. I need more time with the spray brush settings, definitely. Now, what about the Mobile Studio Pro 13? Honestly, it's holding up pretty well. The Move Ink, if this thing doesn't break, it's an amazing deal, right? The minute it breaks, it's, well, you're gonna, repairing is like $1,000 something or something. So basically, if it breaks, that's it. It's dead in the water. Can this be fixed? I don't know. Someone did tell me, I'm gonna look it up real quick, that it can be upgraded though. So let's just take a look. Mobile, oops, I'm typing in the wrong window. Actually, I'll just type in this window. Shoot, hang on. Yeah, Nick, I have a couple of those, one or two of those pens. I haven't used it much. I think I accidentally hit the roller too much, and that's why I don't bother using it. Okay, let's see. What do I want? I want Mobile Studio Pro 13 Gen 2 upgrade. I believe it is upgradable. Let's see if we are. Yeah, accessible backdoor compartment. Okay, that's good. So if the SSD breaks, it is possible to upgrade this. And you can upgrade the RAM. Okay, so let's see how much we can upgrade it to. Sorry, what is the maximum amount of RAM for this device? I know I'm asking AI, but 32, okay. To reach 32 gigabyte maximum, you must completely remove your factory installed 116 gigabyte model and replace it with one single 32 gigabyte standard laptop size DDR4 SODIMM memory models. Yes. Let me just, yeah, I do want find. Let's just see the price. What would it take? What would it take? I don't know. Okay, let's take a look. How do I find the price of these things? Well, let me just type it in. Copy. $180. Now this is DDR4 RAM, so this is not like the latest stuff, but on Amazon, let's take a look. I don't know why it says this here, CLP, but it says 230, so it's a little more expensive, but not that bad. I'll consider it. I'll consider it. This would not be a bad little device. And now I can understand why people like it, because you just get a full computer in it. Again, I would not recommend it, but you know, it does work. To be honest, for something that was released in 2019, it works better than I expected. It really does. Like, I didn't feel like, I mean, I'm sure it's not the highest performance thing, but like, I didn't feel like it was lagging on Krita at all. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. They need to be opened from the front. Unglue the screen, which risks breakage. What? Wait a second. Let's take a look at this. Are you sure? It said there was a compartment. Let's see. Mobile Studio Pro. Mobile Studio Pro 13 upgrade RAM. Let's just take a look here. Here we go. Let's do, there's a Wacom official one. Let's take a look.
To a maximum of 32 GB. Hi, I'm Guido from Wacom, and in this video I will explain how to upgrade your random access memory or RAM at your Mobile Studio Pro. My Mobile Studio Pro 16 in this case comes with 16 GB of memory already installed. This is probably
I want to say 13. I don't want to. Okay, this one.
All right, let's see if I can upgrade the memory on this 16-inch Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. First, we gotta.
Okay, it's a 16-inch, but let's learn.
Take the stand off. Actually, there we go. And we need a screwdriver. Tight.
So far, it doesn't look complicated.
There we go.
It's a bit of unscrewing.
And let's.
You know, one of my thoughts is, honestly, this might be useful when I'm, because it's got touch and it's not big and it's standalone. This might be useful when I'm doing whiteboarding during these streams. So that could be an actual use for this tablet for me.
Let's see. We got another one. Done. There's an SSD drive I can replace if I want.
Was that it? Hang on. Oh, this one has two slots.
Yeah, let's
13
see.
only has one.
Got another one. Done. There's an SSD drive I can replace if I want. On there, right?
Okay, not bad. I think this, I might actually do it. Maybe not now, but I think at some point I will. Okay, I think we covered everything. We tried the art pen, or sorry, the airbrush pen. And I'll continue experimenting with Krita. I'll experiment with Clip Studio Paint. I don't recall Clip Studio Paint having a spray brush. We'll take a look at that. This could be interesting. This also makes me want to experiment by building my own app that controls this, because I'd love to just again formulate my own opinion of how an airbrush can work, right? Because I'd like it to do color in certain ways. I'd like it to do the size in certain ways, and I'm not seeing how to do that in Krita exactly the way I want. Especially with the color. I don't think there was a way to do what I wanted. What I wanted with the color was if I start with red, pull it down to get more cool and pull it up to get more warm. Just a little bit. So, you're not trying to make a rainbow. Just, you can imagine for certain kind of shading, that would be really nice, right? So we'll see. A couple of the points about this pen is the wheel is, well, you got a wheel and you got one button. So you only have, and the wheel is not clickable. It does not count as a button press. So if you're used to a Pro Pen 2 or Pro Pen 3, it would be probably weird to use this pen. Again, I think right now it's coming off as more of a gimmick unless I can find a brush engine that really exploits it. I'll definitely try Photoshop. And I guess if I had to say the kind of brush I want a combination of digital and the particle effect of this thing. Some way of blending those two. I don't want to look too grainy, just a little bit. Okay, with that, I'm going to end the stream. Everyone, thanks for joining me. This was kind of a fun exploration of a topic I didn't think I was going to get into. And thanks you for those on the Discord who about 6 days ago pointed me at this device. I was never going to get this, but now I can at least talk a little bit confidently about what this device is like. And that for me was worth it. And again, from my perspective, I got 3 pens and a free Mobile Studio 13. I think that was a really good deal because it all cost me $300. That's a really good deal. So check eBay. You're gonna find every now and then people will have great deals. Again, there are many times I bought a tablet, not because I wanted the tablet, just because it came with a lot of pens. Okay, so you'll see a lot of people sell pens. They don't realize how valuable they are actually. Okay, everyone, have a great Saturday. I'll see you all soon. And yeah, thanks again for joining. Bye.